What is going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you on Polestar. I want to go over some of the current data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and given everything, what is suppressing Polestar? Why is it not going up with a lot of the other EVs? So I'm going to go over all that. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So currently it is down 4.03%. 1.64 million shares have been traded. 2.6 is the average. We are about to head into power hour as well. So most likely the volume is going to be a little bit lower than the average, which overall today is kind of weird. The fact that it is down 4.03%, yet there has been no news, no SEC filings, nothing like that. So in my opinion, why it is going down as much as it is just sentiment. People do not believe that they are going to hit their year-end targets, despite the fairly positive Q3 earnings, which was kind of a breath of fresh air, but ultimately people do not believe that they're going to hit their targets. As well, people do not believe that they are going to hit their profitability in 2025, or even hit 155 to 165,000 vehicles per year by that 2025. So people are just very negative on Polestar, which at the same time, based on everything, like they have no real plans to get into the States, especially because of, I can't remember what they called it, I think just taxes or import fees or whatever else. Like that is going to be a very negative aspect until that facility is up and running. And oddly enough, I have pointed out some stats in the past that the States oddly has been outperforming a lot of big regions that have massive demand, such as Europe and China. So the States has been where you need to be to really succeed in at least the last little bit, right? So in reality, I think that is what is causing Polestar to go down as much as it has been. And oddly enough, even keeping this in mind about being break even in 2025, analysts are doubtful. So as you can kind of see based on this, so the analyst forecast, it is anticipated by Q4 2024 still to be kind of losing about 15 cents per share. So very negative, unfortunately. So like I said, I think it is just going down because of sentiment, and it has nothing to do with manipulation. So even if you look at this, so what shorts are doing, shorts are basically returning 10,000 shares today. So 10,000 shares is a drop in the bucket, considering there has and is about 1.6 million shares being traded. So shorts aren't manipulating Polestar, and it does show NA for the short interest, and that is because Ortex doesn't actually have the correct outstanding share count. Based on this, it is showing 2.1 billion. So factoring in that there's 21.67 million shares being shorted overall, that's about 1.5% for the short interest. So like I said, manipulation isn't necessarily happening with Polestar. A couple interesting things though, cost to borrow average is 21.65%, and the last time I kind of looked at this was around 2 weeks ago, on which it was maybe 5%. So has gone up quite a lot, and that's an annual rate. So again, just be aware of that. But through the Interactive Broker short availability, it does indicate that there is around 10,000 shares available to be shorted. So once again, just be aware that I'm bringing this up more as a benchmark, not necessarily because I feel like Polestar's a short squeeze play, because it definitely is not. And just to quickly go back over to Interactive Brokers while I kind of talked on analysts for a little bit, I just wanted to show you the latest analyst rating. So there hasn't really been anything. So Dan Levy with Barclays, who does have a 45% success rating, that was done about 2 weeks ago, did give a sell rating and a $2 price target. So even analysts, with the exception of RF Lafferty and Jamie Perez, who does have a 22% success rating, they do seem to be the only optimistic one on Polestar. So analysts just see Polestar burning through a ton of money and just not really hitting targets. And unfortunately, they don't really see anything changing in the foreseeable future. So this is why it is going down as much as it is. And looking at options activity though, so based on right now heading into power hour, around $12,000 in calls being purchased versus 44 or 4,500 in puts. And so that is kind of optimistic, especially if you do compare that with previous days or the last several weeks. There has been an immense amount of puts being purchased, insinuating people were doubtful on it. So today might be the bottom, or at least people are kind of optimistic about that, despite it going down 4%. But looking at the calls, very little. So even when it comes to this, people aren't necessarily getting in through calls or just options. just people are on the sidelines just waiting. But no matter what though, looking here, it is anticipated for it to be around the $2.50 mark by January the 19th. So still not really much upside. When I go over the technicals, all of this will make a little bit more sense. But looking at puts, it is anticipated to be sub $2 in, I guess, for the foreseeable future. So once again, that is linked to the technicals. I just wanted to share this with you. So this is compiling all the 13 Fs within Q3. So this is updated information. It does show hedge funds within Q3 did have roughly about 33,000 in call options versus 68 from the previous quarter. So it did go down 52%, so not necessarily the best. And looking at all 13 F filers, they went from about 1.9 million to 1.7. So that did in fact go up 14.02%. So kind of optimistic, kind of not, coming from a hedge fund standpoint. So once again, I just wanted to share that with you, but let's talk on some technicals. With it now at $2.01, so 4.74% in the red, you really want to watch this very strong support of $1.94 to hold. So as it stands, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot, and it's been trading within that range for I think the last several weeks, but $2.31 is going to be that next strong resistance. So really watch these 2 points to hold. In my opinion, I do feel it is going to break most likely this week, especially with GDP numbers coming out, PCE, and might not necessarily be the most optimistic. And again, that could result in a market sell-off. So it could potentially be starting to trade between this S2 and this S1. So $1.72 and then $1.35. So those are some points to really watch for. Hopefully I am wrong and this just does bounce to $3 plus or whatever else. But again, I do feel just the sentiment isn't necessarily there with Polestar. And that's one very common thing I've said for a very long time, is that Polestar, despite on how much they produce, just people do not like it for whatever reason. But just to show you some additional data points, looking at momentum shows number of retail investors have been getting out since around November the 15th. And looking at stochastic, there isn't any defined trend right now, but it is at 20, and that is considered oversold. So over the last little bit, you can tell that Polestar has wanted to try to break out, but it fails to transition from the lower to the higher percentile of the Bollinger Band. So it tried on the 20th and as well on the 24th. So kind of interesting stuff. Let me know your thoughts on Polestar. Have you been buying? Have you been selling? What have you been doing with Polestar? And do you think that this, I guess, lack of interest is going to continue? Or do you think maybe if it gets to $1, more value investors will come in? What's your take on Polestar? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, take advantage of this promo with Moomoo. So sign up for an account, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also comments. With all that said, I appreciate all of you watching.